A time when things are most uncertain, we turn to the most certain thing there is: science. Science can overcome diseases, create cures, and yes, beat pandemics. It has before. It will again. Because when it's faced with a new opponent, it doesn't back down. It revs up, asking questions till it finds what it's looking for. That's the power of science. So we're taking our science and unleashing it. Our research, experts, and resources, all in an effort to advance potential therapies and vaccines. Other companies and academic institutions are doing the same. The entire global scientific community is working together to beat this thing, and we're using science to help make it happen.
Assalamualaikum and hi. Today our group Hustlers want to present the Pfizer case. In this video, we will discuss about 1. Company background, 2. Protagonist, 3. Situation analysis, 4. Major issue, 5. Alternative, 6. Evaluation of alternative and decision, and the last one, 7. The implementation. First, company background. Establishment of company Pfizer was founded by their cousins Charles Pfizer and Charles Earhart in 1849. The business is firstly located in Brooklyn, New York. Pfizer, 167 years of operation and managed to become the second largest pharmaceutical manufacturer. Operation of company. Pfizer managed to get international revenue of $49 billion. Pfizer operates the business by relying on its R&D pipeline to launch high-volume drugs. They also restructured the operation as the response of the cost increment. They also took 2 growth strategies, which are expanding its capabilities and acquiring brands with strong revenues. The protagonist, Ian C. Reid. He is the CEO of Pfizer and took over in December 2010 from his predecessor Jeffrey Kindler. He has spent his entire career with Pfizer since 1978 as an operational auditor. Under his leadership, he tried to create accountability among the employees by speaking up to the upper management if they are wrong. There are 2 types of situation analysis used. First, pestle analysis, a framework used by us to analyze and monitor the Pfizer surrounding overall. The second analysis used is fishbone analysis, a diagram to show cause and effect on Pfizer that lead to major problem. First, pestle analysis. The first one, P, political. There are political lobbyists that spend millions of dollars to influence the cost for drug that rocketed. Second, economic. There are drugs that nearly losing or already losing their position in the market as the cost increase, which affect their financial. The third one, social cultural. Reid creates the accountability culture in Pfizer, like straight talk and on it. It's like to correct if they are wrong, even they are the upper management. Fourth, technological. The need to optimize the nowadays technology. Pfizer tried to optimize the technology by investing in early stage scientific innovation like immunoecology. Fifth, environmental. There are drug pricing scandal created as the rising the cost in drug manufacturer. As the result, it creates the environment with active political reform. 6. Legal. FDA have the authority over drugs in the US. FDA got the mandate to market review of drugs, which leads to 60% increment in drug costs.
Next, we will use fishbone analysis to analyze the situation. Firstly, imminent patent expirations of drug manufactured by pharmaceutical Pfizer. High brand or prescription drug manufacturer is covered under patent protection and other market exclusivities under government regulations. Pfizer and other large drug manufacturers have practiced a similar way in gaining revenue where they heavily depend on raising the price of older drugs that near patent of expirations. When a patent has expired, the drug can be manufactured and sold by other companies and this drug become a generic drug. On top of that, patent holders will lose monopoly power in the market and encourage competition and result in a significant drop in drug costs. This practice also will lead to a pricing scandal where drug manufacturers take advantage of older drugs that are near patent expiry because buyers do not have any control over the pricing of the products. They have to buy at the price what is set by the company. Pfizer's reliance on pricing strategy to drive top-line revenue growth is unsustainable. Complex public issues also contribute to the major problem where increased regulation by Food and Drug Administration (FDA). It is because FDA tightened the drug review process and FDA also collect the fees to fund the pre-market review process for new drug approval. On top of that, this regulation has made the reduction in the approval of passing frequency for blockbuster-level drugs. The effect of increased costs for drug manufacturers forced the pharmaceutical industry to cut costs in the R&D budget and resulted in the drug pipeline have failed to produce any significance in value and less innovation in the drug industry. These problems will lead to the major issue: how should Pfizer sustain in the drug commercialization and keep competitive in building innovative products? Alternative available to the protagonist will be generated from the application of unsolved metric. There are 4 elements in these tools, which are market penetration, market development, product development, and diversification. Market penetration. Pfizer can outsource the proportion of the clinical trial through public-private partnership to lower the development costs and increase R&D productivity. The public sector supports the pharmaceutical industry to do R&D in universities or public institutions and also provide R&D grants. It is also supported by means of subsidies, measure of taxation, and certain policies in introducing the medicines. Public-private partnership outsourcing is proven to lower the cost of R&D and help to expedite translational research into innovative drug and medicine. Market development. It is also called market expansion and has 2 types, which are geography and demographic expansion. Pfizer chose to widen its market geographically in China, where it can acquire Sinovac Biotech Limited. It is because the Chinese pharmaceutical sector had the higher rate of growth in 2014, which is a good sign for Pfizer to acquire Sinovac Biotech. This to gain a skill of expertise and produce more innovative drugs. On top of that, the high population in China is also one of the demographic strategies that can be benefited through the acquisition of Sinovac. Product development. It is also called product expansion as it enlarges the product line in the company portfolio. Pfizer may focus on selling the consumer product at their pharmacy store called direct to consumer. This direct selling of consumer product will offer a lower price to the customers as Pfizer manufactures its own medicine or drugs. Hence, the customers will enjoy the final goods at a lower price. Diversification. Pfizer may introduce horizontal diversification where technologically unrelated products are introduced into the current market. Instead of manufacturing medicine and drug, Pfizer can manufacture medical devices, surgical instruments, or other medical equipment. Next, decision criteria. In order to come up with the best alternative, decision criteria will assist Pfizer in making decisions. Having a structured decision-making process will help accelerate decision-making and improve the probability of getting a consensus on the chosen decision. In this section, there are 4 decision criteria that will be used to evaluate the alternative. We'll allocate 30% for both innovation product and growth opportunity because these criteria serve the main issue faced by the Pfizer, which are to sustain in pharmaceutical industry and produce innovative product. 20% of initial investment means that the amount of the capital needed at the beginning of the project. Lastly, 20% of competitive advantage means that which the attribute that allows an organization to outperform its competitors.
Okay, on this part, I will using this table to evaluate each of the alternative. For the first one, innovation product criteria, market penetration and market development give a high impact on innovation. The alternative on market penetration, which is to outside the proportion of the development cost, will improve the product as the R&D will be conducted by the expertise. While for market development, the innovation of the product will be high through the acquisition of Sinovac Biotech Limited in China, where market research needs to be done to identify market demand that will drive the innovation of the product. While for the product development and diversification, it contributes less to innovative product as it only increases the spending on healthcare and developing new product with medical devices respectively. The second criteria, initial investment, where only alternative market penetration incurs a low cost rather than other alternative which is incur high investment. We have identified that the cost of implementing the first alternative is low as the collaboration between the public sector and the company will reduce the current development cost. Oppositely, the market development alternative will incur high investment as the cost of the takeover of other company is high. While for product development, the cost is high because the company needs to invest more in increasing the production of healthcare products. Then the diversification also incur high cost as the company has to invest more to research market demand and develop a new product. Next is competitive advantage. Market penetration is highly competitive as outsourcing R&D will increase the efficiency of existing process and reduce the development cost. The company has a chance to develop new product to the market faster and thrive in a competitive market. That market development has high impact on competitive advantage because the company will enter China's market where the company can broaden its target customer and also have a lower tax expense. Next, medium competitive advantage on product development because this alternative has a medium chance to compete with other competitors as nowadays there are a lot of pharmacy stores entering the market. Last but not least, diversification have high impact on the competition as the company jumps into new product line and industry which is manufacturing medical device and supply it to private and public hospital. The last criteria are growth opportunities where all the alternatives have a high chance of growing the company in the future. Okay, now let's move on to the decision that we have made. Based on the evaluation for each of the alternative, market penetration has fulfilled the specific criteria which are to outside the proportion of the development cost, such as clinical trial through public-private partnership. These are the advantages and disadvantages that we managed to identify. The first advantage is have low R&D costs because the company can reduce fixed costs such as labor costs. Other than that, the company will get support from the government if they do R&D at university or public institution. The public sector will support the company by giving out subsidy, tax measure and policy for certain classes of drug. Furthermore, the company will get authority of publication as the R&D will involve the collaboration between the academia and the pharmaceutical industry. The collaboration between Pfizer and the public university will gain trust from the government and the public itself. In addition, the company also will be granted a marketing authorization as they collaborate with the public sector. Lastly, the company will be able to share the risk of pharmaceutical R&D and improve R&D productivity if the development of drug fails. For the disadvantages, the first one is the company may face a risk of information leakage to the competitors because they do the R&D with a third party. Secondly, the company also may face unexpected challenges such as the cooperation doesn't work where the key performance indicators are not reached. It can be backfire if expectations are mismanaged, disagreement arise over the nature and quality of the work performed, or the project's requirement change once the research and development are underway. In this section, we will discuss on how to implement this alternative and how to make sure this alternative becomes successful. We have divided the implementation process into 3 stages which are immediate, short-term and long-term. First and foremost, immediate stage. This planning must be done within 6 months. Okay, then at this stage, Pfizer is required to analyze and investigate which public sector to collaborate with to meet its goals and objectives. Pfizer needs to assess the policies and procedure required for each chosen public sector. Next, plan out the implementation by define the goals and its strategy. They need to identify which product and process to outsource their R&D. The second stage is short term, where the company must take action within a year. After all the planning and investigation, the company needs to select which R&D provider is suitable for them and sign the agreement. Pfizer should negotiate with the service provider to avoid making assumptions about who's in charge for each task. Then, they should assign a supervisor to manage the relationship between both parties. This action is needed to make the communication smooth and identify any issues early. In addition, tracking and monitoring should be done regularly to make sure the agreement and terms in the contract are made between both parties. On the long-term stage, Pfizer can consider outsourcing all R&D process to save development costs that keep rising every time. Other than that, Pfizer can consider collaborating with other public institutions or universities to spread the risk of failure of R&D at one institution. That's all from us. Thank you.